Na 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 na. Yeah, Masters of the Universe, baby. Coffee first. Yo, Fears. Audience Fears. Back at it again with another late. You know, better late than never live. But back at it again with another live. You know? God, Zach, 6.5 hours, we could have, 3 would have been enough. 3 hours could have been enough. Nobody really cares about your bullshit live, all right? Now it's time for some real going live. I'm just joking, Zach. I'm just playing around. Actually, I loved Zach's live. I was very patient. I waited. I knew that everybody was waiting for that. Zach, I was totally kidding around. I was just joking. I really enjoyed it. I was on for a little bit. Then I went and took a shower and got something to eat. And then I listened to the rest of the live, and I thought, all right, well, I'll just go live after. I don't mind going. Plus, everybody was wanting a Zach's live because Zach actually canceled quite a few times. I mean, I get it though. He canceled because of family stuff. So yeah. So Zach, I'm your buddy. I'm your pal. I was just joking, buddy. I actually really enjoyed the live. It was very exciting. It was very exciting. Good stuff. Good stuff. So yeah, I'm actually going to call Zach and tell him good live. Good live. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to congratulate him because it was a good live. Oh, he may have already went to bed. Zachary? Zach? Oh. I'm going to send him a voice message. Oh, hang on. Yo, Zach, it's Fears. I just went live. Hey, I was just joking, man. I made a funny little joke. I was like, hey, yo, what's up, Fears? Now it's time for some real streaming. Nobody cares about Zach's bullshit live. I was joking, Zach. I was joking. I actually really enjoyed the live. I'm actually live right now. I tried to call you. If you want, call me in a few because I know you said you were going to get some food. So, yeah, give me a call, buddy. But I really enjoyed the live. It was awesome. Good job, and I loved all the impressions. Let's see. Ha, ha, ha. I was just joking around. Anyway, Zach can take a joke. Anyway, yeah, Zach was saying that I had to get my makeup on and all that. No, I didn't have to have any makeup on. I had to call my mom. So, yeah. Anyway, I was just totally joking around. I actually did love Zach's live. A lot of impressions, a lot of good stuff. People have been begging for it, so it was good. Coffee first. Oh, yeah. It was a very good day today. Very good weekend. I hope you guys had a good weekend, too. Let me call Lantern, say hello real quick. Larry! Lantern was going nuts in there. He was having a lot of fun. Lantern! Lantern. Oh, he may have already went to bed. Yo!
Yeah, that it was. He was having a lot of fun.
Yo, what's up, Lantern? What's up, Twin? What's going on, Twin? How you been, Twin? Ha ha! Yeah, yeah. Are you in the chat, Lantern?
Yeah, I'm in the chat.
Is Zach in the chat?
No, but if he is, he's in the chat.
Okay, all right, cool. Cool. What's up, twin? Hey, Lantern. Oh, damn. That was a big fart, Lantern. No, Lantern. Actually, Lantern, did you have fun on Zach's panel? I did.
Yeah.
I was only on there for a little bit because Larry, stayed on there way too long. I thought that was kind of bullshit. But anyway. So, yeah. But it was still fun, though. I was on there for, 20, 30 minutes. Larry was on there for 5.5 hours. That's kind of bullshit, But anyway. But Zach knocked it out of the park with a great live. Great live. All right, Lantern, I'll see you in the chat.
Okay.
All right, Shunk! All right. Yeah, Zach did nothing wrong. Zach can go live for as long as he wants. It was Larry. That was kind of bullshit. I didn't get to hang out with my friends at all. Mike was in there. I wanted to go in there and at least say hello. And because Larry was in there, you guys know, for the 1 billionth time, I don't care for Larry. Am I afraid of Larry? No. I just didn't want to cause any problems on Zach's live. So for the 1 billionth time, I'm not afraid of Larry. I just don't want to deal with his immature bullshit. So he kind of stayed on there way too long, in my opinion. But even though Larry stayed on there way too long, Zach did a fantastic job. The impressions were killing it. The Yakov was jamming away on his music. So I watched it, and I did a little editing, and I took a shower, and I got something to eat to prepare for my live. So, but I'll have a pretty good live. I don't have to go to work till 4:30, so we have 2 hours and 30 minutes. So I can pretty much get everything done. So it wasn't a big deal, and I appreciate Zach giving me some time because Zach could have went a lot longer. Anyway. Let's see, updates. Well, me and Dave hung out. We went and saw Scream today. I wish you could have came with us. It was a blast. We went and saw Scream. We got some vlog footage. Me and Dave were vlogging at the movie theaters. I didn't bring the whole ghost face costume because it was so damn hot today. I did bring the mask though, so I got a couple of pictures of me and Dave, in the ghost face mask. So that was fun. We went out to lunch. We went to Pizza Hut, an actual sit-down pizzeria. I haven't done that in quite a while. The last time I did that was around 2019, 2020, because when I first moved out here, I found a Pizza Hut, like an actual sit-down Pizza Hut. Before then, I hadn't been in a Pizza Hut since, like an actual sit-down Pizza Hut since I was like 10 or 11. Because they took the one out of Wentzville, Missouri, and the one out of O'Fallon ages ago, my friends. So, yeah. All right, well, today's topics. So, we're going to review the day. I got 2 movies. I watched Elvis and Nixon, and I watched A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. So, we're going to do those. We're going to review some Mr.B beef jerky, which I forgot to grab. So, whenever we get to that part, I will grab them. We're gonna review the day, and then I bought a nerd haul, like a little nerd haul, while we were out and about. But Dave was right. We went to this comic book shop also. So we did a couple of things. We went to the comic book shop, we went to the Pizza Hut, and we went to Scream, and we wanted to do something different. That's why I wish Zach could have came with us, because we were gonna go to like Atomic Horror and stuff like that. But Dave's like, well, Fierce, if you're game, he goes, do you want to do something different? And I said, yeah, sure. I said, what have you got in mind? And he said, well, I know this comic book store that we could go to that's right near the movie theater. And I was like, you know what? I'm game. We get there. I do a little live there. And then after that, I'm walking out. I'm walking out of the door, and I see it on the wall. And I was like, oh, my God, I've got to get it. So I'm going to show you guys it in just a second. So, but it's been a pretty good weekend. I hope everybody had a good weekend. I did some editing. I went to the gym off camera. Whenever I got back from hanging out with Dave, and then let's see, Friday and Saturday. Friday I went for a walk off camera. Saturday I just kind of stayed in and worked around the house. I vacuumed. I cleaned. I've got almost all of the Halloween and Christmas stuff down. I got a few little bits and bobs around, but yeah. So we're gonna review the Mr. Beast thing, and then I got some old photos to show you guys. So that's the next thing. So we're gonna do the 2 film reviews. We're gonna do the Mr. Beast beef jerky review. I'm gonna show you some old pictures, and then we're gonna do the nerd haul. So yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. I'm going to try to get all of this in 2 hours and 30 minutes. I appreciate everybody staying up late and hanging out with Fears. By the way, Zach, I was totally joking. You did a great job. I actually enjoyed Zach's live. I did think Larry stayed on a little bit too long. We have to take turns, you know, just because we don't like each other. You know, I only got to hang out with my friends for about an hour, you know, so that was kind of bullshit. But Zach's actual live, it was fantastic. So way to go, Zach. Zach, you know I was joking when I started this live. I just want to let everybody know I was joking. I was like, Zach, nobody cares about your bullshit live, yada yada yada. Now it's time for a real streamer. I was joking, Zach. I loved your stream. I thought it was fantastic. I was just playing around. But anyway, I wasn't joking around when it comes to Larry. Larry's a dick. Larry's an asshole. Zach, he's a fantastic friend. He's a fantastic editor. He's a fantastic live streamer, and I cannot wait for the RV vlogs and the RV lives. I'm gonna go on some of them. I can't get to all of them because you know, I said on the weekend, Zach, I can come with you, and I said I can take some time off of work, but I am determined to find a better job, and I am determined to get what's the word? I'm determined to get more pay and a better job. So I've literally been like applying for jobs like crazy. So I'm still gonna work on my YouTube stuff, but I don't have enough money to buy an RV like Zach. But I told Zach I will come on as many adventures as I possibly can. So yeah. All right. That's good stuff. All right. So let's open up the chat. All right. Oh, today's thumbnail is a leprechaun's hat. I had to quickly grab something real quick. So yeah. Thank you for the like. I appreciate it. Yo, what's up, Mr. Lantern? What's up, Seamus? What's up, BPM? Yo, yo, yo. What's up? Okay. Let's see. Let me get through the whole chat. We got 8 people watching. Yo, what's up, Lantern? Only 2 here. I think everybody went to bed. That's all right, though. I'm glad that whoever is still here is here. Lantern says, well, howdy, Fears. Howdy, BPM. Well, howdy. And he says, howdy, Lampy. I really dig these 2 a.m. streams. Nice and quiet. Well, I mean, we all have to take turns going live, you know? So, and which I admit, I go live almost every day. Not every day, but almost every day. So, everyone deserved a really long you know, Zach live because he hadn't went live in quite a while. So I get it. I understand. Just wanted to say, what's up? I got to hit the hay myself. Good night, Zach and the boys. Wore me out. Later, BPM. I wish you would stay, but, you know, there it is. Is this the new time slot for Fear streams? No. You guys normally know whenever I go live, it's usually around, you know, 5 or 6 at night. I just wanted to honor Zach. You know, Zach is my friend, so I was very patient and I waited my turn. So yeah. What's up, Seamus? He says, stop spamming Mr. Lantern. That's all right. Mr. Lantern can spam away. Thank you, Mr. Lantern. Crown. All right. Well, Lantern wants a crown check, so we'll start with that. We will start with that, and so far BPM is in the lead. Lantern. So BPM's in the lead. Then Mr. Lantern is second. Then N4, and then Bo Seamus. So there we are. So Lantern, you got to get to work. You got to get to work, boy. You know, on the crowns, Lantern. On the crowns. Usually Visions wins the crown. It's either Visions or Museum. Usually. But Lantern is determined to get at least 1 crown. So there we are. All right, well, I think we should start this live off with a bang. And I'll show you guys what I got on my nerd haul today while me and Dave were out and about. It's just a little one. It's just a little one. When we went to the comic book shop, Fear's got a couple of little goodies. So yeah. Let's see here. So I brought my mask with me to the movie theater. So there we are. So there it is. Oh, hang on. Ah, there it is. So there's that. When Fears checks the crowns, it's called a crowns dump. That's good. That's good. I never thought about it that way, Seamus, but that's good. All right. So, actually, Dave was looking out for me. Dave got me some free comic books, and I'm going to give these to Shelton. I'm going to read these to Shelton. So, these are made for little kids. So, Johnny Boo and the Spooky Tree. So, because Dave was like, Fears, he turns 1. He goes, you got to start his comic book collection. I was like, that's actually a good idea, Dave. So, I got him this. And then, so I picked out this one. Dave picked out Archie Madhouse Mayhem. So, yeah. And then I picked out this one. League of Super Pets. There we are. There we go. So I'm going to give all these to Shelton. I'm going to read all these comic books to him whenever I'm in town. And then, probably one of the greatest finds that I've got in quite a while. It was only $75. I got Leonard Nimoy's signature. Star Trek, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. I cannot wait to put this in a frame. I'm going to find somewhere. I don't know where, but it's probably going to be out here somewhere because finally, I always wanted to meet Leonard Nimoy, and I've never gotten a chance to because he passed away, but I got Leonard Nimoy's signature. There you are. I think you guys can kind of see it. There you are. It's got the authenticity sticker on the back. So, yeah. So, I think this is season 2. Either season 2 or season 1 of Star Trek. So, I got this. Very, very, very cool. I've always wanted, because I got an autograph from Captain Kirk. I met him. I got O'Hara, how do you say her name? O'Hara's the lady with the mic inside her ear. I've got an autograph of her, and now I've finally got one of Leonard Nimoy. I just wish I would have gotten a chance to meet Leonard Nimoy. That would have been really cool. So hey, Zach, check it out, man. Pretty damn cool. Pretty cool. There you go. You can kind of see the autograph. And this sticker has got it's an authenticity sticker. So she said it is real. I asked the woman, and she goes, it's 100% real. She goes, we bought it at an auction. So it's 100% real. And I asked the woman. So yeah. Yo, what's up, Visions? He says, nice shit you got there. I know. And it was only $75 because she said that's a steal because she pulled up on her phone. She said, usually a Leonard Nimoy signature online, if you go to eBay, they're around $200, $300, $400. She goes, I don't really know the exact price, but she goes, let me look it up. So she looked. She goes, you're getting a deal, $75. Because I asked her, I said, would you take 50? She goes, nope, 75. And I said, okay. I said, 75's fine with me. And she goes, that's a deal. She goes, look, and she pulled out her phone. She goes, look, this one's 250, this one's 300. And she looked it up on eBay. And I said, hey, you won't complain for me. And I said, is this authentic? And then she said, it absolutely is authentic. She goes, the owner bought it at an auction. And I said, all right. I said, that's cool. So, pretty damn cool. So, yeah. LOL, I meant the shirt, but that works too. Oh, I thought you were talking about this, Visions. Oh, yeah. Look at this. The Toxic Avenger. Well, this one you've seen, Visions. This ain't a new one. It's, when did I buy this? I bought this maybe a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago, because I was at Atomic Horror and I saw this and I was like, oh yeah. But as soon as I saw this, and actually Dave pointed this out to me. We were on our way out, so we went in and I was just vlogging away. So I'm vlogging. And then I did a little live, and then we were on the way out, and then he said, and Dave said, hey, John, and he kind of tapped me on the shoulder, and he goes, check that out. And they had it like on the wall. And I was like, oh, cool. And then I said, how much is that? She goes, well, it's a little pricey. She goes, there's a signature on it. I said, is it really from him? And she goes, oh, yeah. And I said, well, how much is it? And because I could barely see the autograph because he signed it in blue and it was kind of, in his blue shirt. And I said, I don't see the signature. And then she pulled it off the wall and then I got this close and I was like, okay, I see it now. And she goes, that's a steal. And I said, that is a steal. I said, I bet you it's so much more online. And then she goes, I wouldn't doubt it. I said, do you know how much it would be online? And I said, because I told her, I said, I've tried to get Leonard Nimoy's signature when he was alive. And I said, he didn't do a lot of conventions. I said, he did some conventions, but not a lot. And I said, every time I would go to a convention, he wasn't there. And I said, if I didn't try there, I said, sometimes people had bought signatures at auctions and they would just overprice them at a Comic-Con convention. And she goes, oh yeah, she goes, they overprice it always online and always at Comic-Con. I said, have you been to Comic-Con? She goes, oh yeah, a couple of them. I said, yeah, okay. And then she looked it up and she was right. I knew she was going to be right because everything on eBay, especially collector's items, is anywhere from $200, $300, $400, $500. And she pulled up one that was $250. Then she pulled up another one that was $300. So I was like, I'm getting a deal. So yeah. So I couldn't be happier. The only thing that would have made this a lot better, Visions, is if I would have got to meet the man himself. He was a great writer. He wrote poems. He sang. He acted. In one of the greatest roles of his career, live long and prosper. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, my friends. And then in number 5, he goes, I'm attempting to roast a marshmallow. There it is. That scene's great. So yeah. So I'm going to put it in a frame and I'm going to find a dope place. So yeah. So Visions, not only do I have a dope shirt, but I've got a dope, Leonard Nimoy. So whenever I die, I'm telling you, Shelton is going to get a lot of cool shit, Anyway, Dave helped me out with these. These were free comic books. So Dave was like, hey, John, you're going to go visit your mom and Shelton and stuff. She goes, you could add this to your birthday gift. I said, that's a great idea. She goes, oh, yeah. She goes, you got to start the little guy on his comics. And I was like, right on. So Dave picked out this one, Visions, Archie's Madhouse. So I'm going to read this to him whenever I'm in town. I picked out this one, Johnny Boo and the Spooky Tree, good old Halloween. And then I love superheroes, Superman's dog, Crypto, hell yeah. Super Pets, oh yeah. Now we're talking, oh yeah. Nice. So I'm sure he'll enjoy those. Let's see. Bo Seamus says, I went to the gun range in my Exhumed Vision shirt this weekend. People thought I smelled good. Nice. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. And then there's that. I'm gonna put these back in the bag so they don't get so they don't get damaged. But yeah. So yeah, it was a nice little nerd haul, but that's the prized possession. And this was just icing on top of the cake because we got these. I did a little live. Did some vlogging, and I swear I was on the way out, and Dave said, wait a minute, John, look right up there. And I looked, and I went, oh, man. And I said, ma'am, how much is that? And I didn't even see the autograph until, because it blended in. See how it blends in with the shirt? So I was just like, what's so special about it? I said, is it just a normal photo? I was going to buy it anyway. I said, I'll take a photo of Spock. Leonard Nimoy. She goes, oh, no. She goes, it's special. She goes, it's autographed. I said, oh, really? I said, how much is it? I thought she was going to say some outrageous price of like $250 or $300. She goes, oh, no. She goes, we've had it on our shelf for years, so we marked it down. And I said, okay. I said, it's real, though. She goes, yeah. She goes, the owner bought it at an auction. And I said, all right, cool. So, yeah. I love it. Live long and prosper, Jim. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, my friends. Memento, nice. Oh, yeah, it was a good memento, Visions. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, you were saying that to Seamus. Hell fucking yeah. Laren, that was to you, buddy. That was to you. Anyway, so I already got my nephew's present. I already got him some Hawaiian shirts, and then my mom said, "Don't buy him a toy because I'm gonna buy him a toy when we get into town." Because my mom said I found this toy store and we're gonna go shopping. And I said, "Sounds good," but Dave's always thinking. He said, "Hey John, get him some free comic books." I said, "That'll work." I said I'll add those in. Plus they're very little, so they won't take up much space in my luggage. So yeah. Saturday, I haven't found a ticket to go home yet, but I will. So I surfed around on Saturday. Last time I got a deal. Sometimes plane tickets are very expensive. Sometimes they're not. Last time I got it for a steal for $250. I'm hoping I can find it for $200 or $250. So we'll see. So this week, I'm just going to surf the internet on all the airlines. I usually fly American Airlines or Frontier or Southwest. Those are the most cheapest. So knock on wood. Knock on wood. Hopefully I can find a cheap flight. So yeah. Yeah. So Seamus went to the gun range, and he says, "I went to the gun range in my Exhumed Visions shirt." Well, it depends on what Exhumed Visions shirt. Does it say Exhumed Visions on it? Did you wear the Tarman one? Did you wear the animated bullshit one? Did you wear the pizza pyramid one? There's a lot of Exhumed Visions merch out there. Did you wear an official Robbie P2? Because Robbie thinks Visions makes fake merch. Visions, I don't know how many times we've told Robbie, or excuse me, not Robbie, Pick Rob, my good friend Visions would never make fake merch. It's exclusive. It's limited edition. It's exclusive, limited edition, Robbie P2, Pick Rob merch. He's got 2 shirts out right now. I got your back, Vision. So every time Robbie, that stupid fat fuck, is bitching and moaning and doing a little bit of this instead of doing this in Yakoff's lives, I always got your back. I always got your back. So yeah. Fake Exhumed Visions merch? Get the hell out of here, Pick Rob. Unbelievable. So yeah. Alright, there we are. Bo Shima says it was the Ghostbuster one. Don't toy with me now. Visions, did you make a new Exhumed Visions Ghostbuster shirt? Don't be toying with me, Bo Seamus. Because I'm going to go to his website right now. And if you're toying with me, you're gone. You're blocked. No, I'm just joking. I won't block you. If there really is a Ghostbuster Exhumed Vision shirt, I'm going to freak out. I'm going to buy it tonight before work. You see, you're toying with my emotions. No new merch. Visions, I got real excited. I thought maybe Visions came over to the dark side and finally embraced the Ghostbuster. Because Visions, you told me, no way, Fears. He goes, Vision said, "Fears, Ghostbusters is your thing." I understand, and I respect you, buddy. You know, if you don't like Ghostbusters, you don't like Ghostbusters. But Bo Seamus was toying with my mind. Yeah, I just checked. No Exhumed Visions Ghostbusters. The last one he made was Morbid Tales. Morbid Tales, and then Wild Man Chris. So Seamus, you were toying with my emotions, my friend. I got excited, though. I got excited. I was like, it could be true. It couldn't, you know. So, well, anyway. One tear. Visions, I do owe you and your brother an apology. I wrote to your brother, and apparently I yelled too loud. Thank God you guys were already done eating your dinner. I felt so bad. I would never do that out in public, you know. And I was just joking. And apparently they had me on full blast on their cell phones. And Bukaki said the lady was so uptight. So let me read you the message. Bukaki, I hope you don't mind. He didn't say anything bad, Visions. I just felt so bad. I thought, well, maybe Visions is just joking. But I was like, let me see if it's real. And it was real. Because, let's see. Bukaki said this. Hang on, let me scroll up. I said, did you guys really get thrown out of that restaurant? And he says, they were really uptight. And we finished eating anyway, so no harm done. And then I said, oh, damn, I'm so sorry, man. And then and then I said, oh, okay. I said, that makes sense. I said, and then he said that he was watching Lantern's rehashing. I mean, not rehashing. Since Lantern did a double stream, I said, hey, I can't see your comments. And he said, oh, probably because I'm in Lantern's chat and I'm watching Lantern like the restream. And I said, oh, gotcha. I said, that's why I couldn't see your guys' comments, because you were not in Zach's chat, you were in Lantern's. So so I did apologize to Bukkake, and he said that they were just really uptight. So I guess the owner just had like a stick up his ass, because I didn't think I was that loud. But yeah. But anyway. Vision says, it may not have been the woos. I think it was more of you saying fuck really loud. Oh, it could have been that. It could have been that. Yeah, it could have been that. But anyway, well, at least you guys had finished with your meal. So, Visions, from a friend to a friend, I apologize. Bukkake said, Fears, it really wasn't your fault. They were just super uptight. He goes, we were already done eating, so who gives a shit? And I said, all right. I said, fair enough. I said, I just wanted to throw the apology out there. So, yeah. Anyway. So, for everyone just joining, I appreciate everybody coming to this late live. I didn't think I was going to have 9 or 10 people, so I appreciate it. Everybody just joining. Fears had a really good weekend. I have been hunting for this for years. Years. Ever since I got my signed autograph from the myth, the man, the legend, Captain James T. Kirk, I've wanted a Spock. And then, sadly, Leonard Nimoy passed away. And he passed away shortly after the second new Star Trek movie. Because now they have 3 new Star Trek movies. They got Strange New Worlds. I just ordered, not yesterday, the day before. So 2 days ago, I ordered Strange New Worlds Season 3. So I never got to meet the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And then the classic Spock. You know, in part 2, you know, he puts his hand up to the glass, and he says, Jim! Puts his hand up, and he goes, I shall always and forever be your friend, and then he dies. But then they revamp him in part 3 and part 4, so yeah. Spock always comes back. So, I always wanted to meet Leonard Nimoy, and unfortunately, I didn't get to meet him. So, I hope I get to meet that one guy that now there's a couple people that play Spock. There's a guy that plays him in the movies, that Zachary, whatever his name is. I'd like to meet him. He seems like a very good actor, and he plays a good Spock. He plays the younger version of Spock. Then there's another guy that plays Spock on what is it? I think it's either Star Trek Discovery or Strange New Worlds. There's another guy that plays Spock, and I wouldn't mind meeting him. He plays a good Spock. But you know what? I like the Zachary guy a lot better. He's got Leonard Nimoy's like touch. The other guy, he's got a couple of Spock's anecdotes, but not as many. So it's still a good performance. I'm not dogging on the guy, but I like the Zachary. Hang on. What the hell is his name? I forgot. Hang on. There's 2 other guys that have played Spock besides Leonard Nimoy. Give me a second. Hey, Meta, I'm having a brain fart. I need you to help me out with something. Besides Leonard Nimoy, there's 2 other actors that have played Spock. What are the 2 actors' names?
The 2 actors who played Spock, besides Leonard Nimoy, are Zachary Quinto in the reboot movies and Ethan Peck in the series Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Okay, I knew it was 2. Yeah, I knew he was in Star Trek Strange. So Ethan and Zachary. Okay, thank you. All right. Thank you. So Ethan's performance, it's all right. It's okay. Zachary's performance as Spock, absolutely fantastic. So when Dave pointed that out to me, I was like, oh my God. So this mission to find an authentic, actual autograph of Spock, Leonard Nimoy. Let's see, when did I meet Captain Kirk? It was at Wizard World Comic-Con. It was after film school, so I want to say it was, don't quote me. The fans would know this because you guys watch every single one of my videos. It would have to be somewhere between 2013 and 2016 one of those Wizard World Comic Cons in there because I met him before I moved down here for my Disney job. And then COVID happened, and then I got another job, and all that bullshit happened, and, you know, yada, 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 yada. So, yeah. And then I met him, and then after him, I met the lady that plays O'Hara. And she told me a great story. She goes, back then, she goes, many black people and many black women, she goes, we were always like servants in films and televisions. We were always like a secretary or the random black guy in the background. She goes, I never had like any important roles. And I was like, that's bullshit. She goes, yeah, it is. And she goes, but she goes, when she goes, Gene interviewed me, she goes, in the future, there'll be no racism, no crime, no war. Everyone will know, she goes, every kid will know how to read. There'll be no homeless people. Everything will be perfect. And I was like, nice. She goes, yeah, that's what I said. And then she said, I made history on that show. And I said, let me guess. The first interracial kiss? She goes, you're absolutely right. And she goes, do you know what episode? I said, I've watched a lot of them. I said, because back then I hadn't watched the entire old series. I told her, I said, well, unfortunately, I said, I didn't watch your guys' television show first. I said, I watched them out of order. And she was like, oh, why is that? I said, well, my dad really liked Star Trek a lot. So I said, my dad was like, why don't we watch Next Gen? Because Next Gen is on television right now, John. And I said, that'll work. And then she goes, oh, so you guys watched it as it came out? I said, yes. So we watched all of Next Gen. I said, then my dad pulled out all of his old VHS tapes, and we watched all of the old shows. So I said, I absolutely know what episode you're talking about. And I said, I don't remember the name of it. I said, I remember you and Kirk were being controlled, and someone that was controlling your bodies forced you guys to kiss, and you guys had golden, like, crowns on. She goes, you're absolutely right, John. And she goes, can you tell me what season? And I said, it's either 2 or 3. I said, I know it didn't happen in season 1. So I believe it's 2. I can't remember what she said because she would know. But she said, so before that gig, she goes, I played a lot of nurses and a lot of nannies on television. She goes, they always had black people being like the hired help, like in television and movies. So she said, to be the communications officer. So I met her shortly after Kirk. Scotty passed away, so unfortunately I'll never get to meet him. And I think the guy that plays McCoy is still alive. I know George Decay is still alive. So those are next on the list. And then Leonard Nimoy died, but at least I got an autograph from him. So the minute Dave was like, we're walking out, I couldn't believe it. Visions, I was so excited. Because you like Trek too, Visions. Not as much as me, but you like Trek. I'm walking, like, so I filmed for the vlog, you know, so I'm like, all right, yeah, this is a nice little comic book shop. I'm doing the vlog, you know, bada bing, bada boom. Then I did a little live. The internet was crap in there, so it only lasted, 4 or 5 minutes. We're on our way out, and Dave goes, hey, John, and like tapped me on the shoulder, and I said, what's up? He goes, what's that up there? And I went, oh, and I said, ma'am, how much is that? I tried to get it for 50, and she goes, oh, you're getting a bargain. She goes, this is 75. She goes, we actually marked it down. It's been sitting on our shelf for a while. I said, oh, yeah. I said, how long have you guys been here in business? She goes, oh, we've been here since 2017. I was like, that's cool. So, and that's when we had the whole big discussion. Oh, I bet you it's so much expensive online. She goes, oh, I know it is. And I said, well, me and my buddies go to a lot of Comic-Cons. I said, they overprice you at Comic-Con. Then I told her about the deals. I said, if they say 100, I'm like, no. I said, you're out of your mind. They say 100. Fear says 25. And then she's like, what's the best deal you ever got? I said, I've gotten things for $5, $8, $1. I said, it just depends on what product, you know? Like, I'll give you guys an example. Up there, I rearranged all that stuff. I'm going to show you guys before I end the live. I rearranged everything up there, and I put a bunch of my VHS tapes up there. I made like a wall of VHS tapes up there. I told the lady, I said, somebody wanted a whole bunch. Somebody wanted like $10 or $20 for that Star Wars lunch pail. And I said, if it was completely intact, like the thermos, not one scratch on it, it would be worth $20. If you look at that that Star Wars lunch pail, there's so much scratches on it. Some of the stickers are missing off of it. Not every sticker, but a couple stickers. I said, it's definitely not worth $20 anymore. I said, it's worn. I said, people have used this. There's so many rips and tears and scratches on it. So I told the lady, I said, I don't remember what deal, but I said, I definitely didn't pay $20. And I said, I got it. I said, I'm taking a guess here. I said, I don't remember how much it was. You guys would know how much I got that Star Wars lunch pail. I think I got it for 10 or 5, somewhere in there. Definitely didn't pay 20 for it because I said, it's not even mint condition. I said, there's scratches and shit all over it. So I got a good deal though. I said, you know what? I'll take 75 for that. I said, that's a great deal. And then she's like, oh yeah, because if you look online, and that's when we went into that spiel. I said, oh yeah. I said, and then I gave her the, I didn't get too much into this, but I said, I find old movies on either Blu-ray or 4K. I said, some of them are very hard to find. And I said, some of them have took me 4 or 5 months to find online. I said, and eBay will overcharge you. Vintage stock sometimes overcharges you. I found a lot of them on Amazon. Amazon has pretty good prices. So, yeah. So, that made my week. That made my weekend. So finally, in the collection. Now I just got to find a good frame, and it's going to be somewhere out here. I think it's too epic to put it in my room. I got to find a really cool spot to put Spock with the signature somewhere either in here or somewhere either in maybe in the kitchen or on that wall. I got to find somewhere, my friends. So I'm very excited. And my friend Sean is going to shit a fucking brick at work. He's going to be like, you're lying, Fears. You're lying. He goes, until I see it in a vlog, he goes, you're lying. I'm going to be like, no, I'm not. I'm like, I got it right here. And then he's going, you're lying, Fears. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I got it for a good deal. So there it is. All right. Because Sean's a big Star Trek fan at work. So yeah. All right. Time for a movie review. So that's the big news. That's the big news. By the way, happy birthday to my good friend James. He just turned 20. Technically yesterday, because now we're on Monday. So James's birthday was yesterday. Zach did a nice stream for him. He was at Universal with all of his friends. Good times, my friends. All right, let's start with Elvis and Nixon. Very good movie. Underrated movie, but very good. Based on true events, based on actual events in history. I don't know why. Well, I kind of know why. I don't know why Elvis did this. I kind of know why. One day Elvis, I guess, just got bored or whatever, and he was watching television, and the way they portrayed it in the film, he had just got done with one of his concerts, and he was flipping through the channels, and he just got sick and tired of seeing teenagers doing all sorts of drugs. All the anti-war stuff was going on, back in the day, and he just said, I would not be a good American if I didn't, offer my help to Richard Nixon. So he just hopped a plane with his best friend, and his best friend helped him make this possible. Because Elvis couldn't go anywhere without one of his bodyguards or one of his friends. And normally, he just said, I'd rather have my best friend, Jerry, with me than a bodyguard. So Jerry was kind of like his best friend and his bodyguard all rolled into one. But Jerry actually knew him before he became like Elvis. Before he became the king. Jerry goes, everybody looks at me and they just see the king and they see the product. He goes, when you look at me, Jerry, he goes, you see the person, goes, because you met me before I became famous. So they go, he writes a little letter on the plane, and he hand delivers it to the White House, and the people at the White House were like, we don't know if this will get to the president. We have to screen this letter because he's the president. And he goes, I understand. He goes, I await your answer, and I'm going to be at this hotel. So he just goes to a hotel for 4 or 5 days in the film and in real life, and he just waits. And he said, if I don't hear from them in 5 or 6 days, I'll just go back to Memphis. So they actually read it, and then I guess like Richard Nixon's like press media was like, we have to set this up. And like Kevin Spacey did a fantastic impression of Nixon. Zach, your impression's great. And they're going through his routine, and they're like, at 1:15, you know, after your nap hour, we thought it'd be a good time to meet Mr. Presley. And he's like, Elvis Presley. And they're like, yes, sir, the entertainer. He goes, oh, I know who Elvis Presley is. And he's like, who the fuck set this up? He goes, I'm not going to meet him. He goes, we have nothing in common. He's not going to interrupt my nap hour, you know. And they're like, sir, we think you should do this. So eventually he caves in, and he's like, I'm telling you, he gets 5 minutes, and then boot him out of here. Boot him out. And then after Elvis comes in, once they get to talking to each other, Richard Nixon says, well, actually, he's a lot different than I thought he was going to be. And they find out that they have more in common than they ever thought possible. So it's a very cool film, and it's 10 times cooler than it actually happened. But it's kind of wacky. Just Elvis one day was like, yeah, fuck my tour. I'm going to put it on hold for a couple of days, and I'm just going to go hang out with the president. And he had no idea if he was actually going to get a meeting. So very cool. Vision says, oh yeah, we watched P2 a couple of nights ago. The kills were cool. Yeah, there's not many cools. There's not many kills in it, Visions, but the kills that do happen, pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Wow, you and Nixon have a lot in common with the naps. Oh yeah. Yeah, I love my naps, but I wouldn't mind it. I don't mind if someone interrupts my naps, but I do like my naps in, but I wouldn't act like a dick. Like in the movie, Kevin Spacey's like, who the fuck set this up? Like, I'm not gonna meet him during my nap hour. So this one's it's all three. It's funny. It's a biographical film. It's a real event film. And what's great is you don't find out everything about Elvis. It's not a biopic about Elvis. Somebody already did that. And they take one little isolated event that happened in Elvis's life and tells about the days, and you learn a lot about Elvis more in this movie than like a biograph film. I loved it. I thought it was great. So yeah. So did you enjoy it, Visions? What would you rate P2? Did you like it? I did see that comment that you made, Visions, and I didn't like it because Fears would never act like this. Whenever I was a security guard, I was a perfect gentleman. He goes, oh yeah, you were in some live and you said, oh yeah, I watched P2. He goes, and the security guard is just like Fears. Well, 1, I'm not a psychopath. 2, I've never killed anybody. I would never act like that crazy guy in the movie. Now his uniform looks the same. I have worn a uniform like his, but I would never act like him. I know you were joking around, but I was just like, that's not true. But let's see. What did I rate it? I rated P2. I gave it a 9.1 out of 10. So, yeah. What was the rating, Visions? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know. All right, back to Nixon. So, based on real events, wacky events, because it is a wacky story. So wacky story, but fun story, because it actually is a real event. So wacky story, but funny. Michael Shannon did a great job at portraying Elvis. So Michael Shannon kicked ass as Elvis. I really liked his performance. Kevin Spacey knocked it out of the park as Nixon. He's like, Elvis Presley. And they're like, yes, sir, the entertainer. He goes, oh, I know who Elvis Presley is. He goes, I'm not going to meet him. We have nothing in common. Who the fuck set this up? You're going to interrupt my nap hour? Zach, I did my best. I did my best on my Nixon impression. If it's not up to your standards, I'm sorry. I liked it because the security guard reminded me of you, but still gave a 6 out of 10. I mean, that's decent. That's decent. But the thing is, I would never act like him, Visions. His haircut's the same. I'll give him that. We have the same haircut. And whenever I worked for Allied Universal security, his security outfit is kind of like that. Kind of like that. I did have a flashlight. I never had a taser. I never had a taser like him. I think he had a gun on his side too. They never gave me a gun. Normally I had a whistle. I had a clipboard. I had a watch with me because I would do my security reports. So similar. The coolest kill though was, because there's not many kills in it, but I like the guy duct taped to the I almost said wheelchair, not wheelchair. The guy duct taped, and he's down in the parking level 4. So yeah, that kill was pretty cool. All right, so Michael kicks ass as Elvis. The Nixon impression was awesome that Kevin Spacey gave. It's awesome. Great job, Kevin Spacey. It's just a really good film. It's not really an action film. It's half comedy, half biographical. So a biopic, kind of. But it's one certain event in Elvis's life. So it's kind of a biographical. But it's 100% true. Kind of a biofilm. My two favorite scenes, let's see. Probably when he's trying to write the letter, because Elvis didn't have good penmanship, and his friend, he's like, hey, Jerry, he's like, you think you could proofread this for me, brother? And he's writing the letter on the airplane. And he's like, oh, yeah, sure, Elvis. And he's looking at it like, you seriously want to send this to the president? And he's like, yeah, what's wrong with it? He goes, Elvis, he goes, don't take this personally. He goes, but you're going to have to rewrite this. He goes, or I can rewrite it for you. He goes, I can barely read this. He goes, your handwriting is terrible. And he just kind of smirks. And so they rewrite it, and then he just straight up walks up to the front entrance of where the guard shack is. And they're like, make sure you get this to the president. And they're like, oh, we don't know if we could do that, sir. Like, it may take days for this to get to the president, if it ever gets to the president. So he's like, I trust you guys. He goes, and I have great respect for what you guys do to protect, the president. And they're kind of like, Elvis Presley is at our front door. This is fucking nuts. So it kind of like threw them off. So that's my second favorite scene. So him writing the letter on the plane. And then obviously the meeting when they finally meet and get a photo, that scene's hilarious. That's probably my favorite scene. So the actual meeting. I do recommend it. It's very good. So I do recommend it. I'm gonna give it a solid 9.3 out of 10. It was pretty good. Let's see. All right. There we go. I'm going to take a quick bathroom break. 2 minutes. I'll be right back. Lantern, back at 2 and 2, y'all. Give me 2 seconds. Oh, man. Oh, God. Here comes the yawns. Ugh. Well, I was trying to get this book done before James's birthday. So, James, I tried. So, this is going to be my birthday gift to James, because we only have we only got about that much left. And then I'm going to start on Pixels. So, yeah. All right. Let's see. Let me catch up with the chat here. Lantern's just spamming away. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we watched P2 a couple nights ago. The kills were cool. The kills are cool. The kills are cool. Definitely very creative. It gives off that creepy vibe, Visions. I feel so bad for the girl. She's like some corporate executive lady. She's just trying to get out of there, you know, and go see her family. And she's got, like, you know, the teddy bear for her little niece. And then I guess her dad's going to dress up as Santa. And she's just doing her thing. And then all of a sudden this guy just is like, nope, you're not leaving the building. So you can either stay here in the lobby or eventually you'll try to make it down to your car. And then I'm just going to lock it up and just terrorize the shit out of you in the parking structure, you know, under your work building. And he just goes buck wild. So, yeah. Let's see here. Well, he was watching some Elvis stuff, and you're reviewing Elvis today, and you were both security guards and both love Christmas. That's true. That's true. Also, Fears, you chained up a woman. Ha ha! That's funny. That never happened. I see it. Just joking. I got it. You're right, though. We do both like Elvis, because he definitely has this number. She's terrified. She's terrified. She's running. She's got the axe, and she's chopping down all the security cameras. And he's all like, oh, ho, ho, ho. You know, he's singing away in the security office. He does like Christmas, so yeah. So I can kind of see where you're coming from, Vision. I would never harm a woman, though. Never. Never. That's not in Fears' nature. Whenever I do have a lady, I always treat them with the utmost respect. Now, I will be honest. I feel so bad, because probably the trolls will never let me live this down. I feel bad for calling Kate a bitch, and I feel bad for calling Jen a bitch. I did apologize. I felt so bad, and it took me a couple days. I wasn't going to apologize because you know how Fears, I'm bad at apologies sometimes. It takes me a little while. But I'm like, Fears, just do the right thing. Just apologize. And I did. So I know you guys forgave me. But I don't know if the trolls will ever forgive me. But that was an instance where I was like, Fears, I'm not really proud at what you did. But that is all water under the bridge. But I would never hurt a woman. But it is a good movie, though. I'm glad you guys liked it. Vision said we gave it about a 6 out of 10. That's not bad. It's not bad. It's right in the middle. I mean, that's what you gave Scream. I'll be honest. When we watched it, I'm going to review Scream. So I need to change the title. Instead of 2 films, I need to review Scream for the book, because I'm not going to wait. I am going to get it on Blu-ray, because I liked most of it. But it's not my favorite, Visions. Still, to this day, Scream 1 and Scream 6. Scream 1 is my all-time favorite, because that's the one that started it all. 6, the kills are going nuts. I think Ghostface is the most brutal in number 6. He's pretty brutal in this one, too, in 7, but it was just okay. I liked some of it. I gave it a, I think in the vlog I gave it either an 8.9 or a 9.1. Dave gave it a 9.7. Dave really enjoyed it, Visions, but I was just like, it was good. It's like you said, it's not great, but it's not bad. It was a decent watch, and I even say that in the vlog. You know, I'd say probably the lowest rating I've ever gave a movie is a 3 or a 4. Like that arcade one that I just watched, that was so boring. It was so crap. The special effects in the 90s were shit garbage. I think I was nice and gave it a 4. I should have gave it a 3, but I was nice and gave it a 4 because it had some great cameos. John Delancey, the guy that plays Q out of Star Trek. He's been in Star Trek Voyager, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Picard. Oh, God. He's done a lot of pilot episodes. He was in the pilot of Star Trek. He was on MacGyver. He was in, I think he did an episode of Airwolf. He's done a lot of television. I think he's been in a couple movies, but he's done a lot of television. So that was good. And then I always forget how to say the guy's name. The guy that played Ralphie out of A Christmas, or Peter, whatever his last name is, he plays the main character in Arcade. So Visions, I definitely don't recommend that one. It was crap. It was garbage. Bukkake, do not watch that one. It was fucking terrible. It was kind of like some Ski Patrol bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Visions, like, I saw the front cover, and I was like, oh, man, Arcade. Real sci-fi. It's going to be a cool movie. I'm getting real excited. I watch it, and I'm like, what the hell am I watching? This is complete bullshit. It was terrible. It was crap. It was garbage. And I was just like, ugh. So it was not good. It was not good. So, yeah. Lantern says, spam, 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 spam. Vision says, Triple, we need you. Yeah, usually when I leave, Triple throws those tomatoes in. Absolutely. All right, well, since Lantern wants a crown check, let's do a crown check. Here we go. All right, so in 5th place, we got Seamus coming in hot. 4th place is N4. 3rd place is Visions. 2 is Mr. Lantern. And coming in hot is BPM. So, yeah. So, Lantern, Visions, you're going to have to work a little bit harder to get that crown, man. Oh, yeah. Well, since I brought up Scream, let's review that next. So, Scream 7. A lot of thrills, chills, spills, kills. Here we go. Scream 7. Nev Campbell, quite a hottie with a nice little body. Nev Campbell, my dream woman. I've had a celebrity crush on her ever since I was 14 years old. Man, she is hot. She's a hot 53. Nev, I'm gonna write it big letters. Nev is fucking hot. Nev is fucking hot. Enough said. Smoking. Whew. Nice little body. The hair's flowing. Whew. If only I could find a Nev Campbell around 40 years old, you know, for Fears. That would be nice. That would be nice, you know. So now Sydney Prescott, she's had a quiet life. She's had a year to rest. She wasn't in Scream 6. So she thinks, well, maybe it's over. She goes, it's usually never over, so she's on her guard. She's very overprotective, you know, with her daughter. And now her daughter is the same age that Sydney was in the very first one. So I think Sydney was 16 or 17 in the first Scream, something like that. So is her girl, and she's named after Tatum. Tatum has one of the best kills in the Scream franchise. No, please, Mr. Ghostface Killer. I want to be in the sequel. Oh, you want to play Psycho Killer? And then the Ghostface is like, yep, yes I do. And then he slices on her arm, like, and he's like, Randy, what the hell are you doing? She throws a bunch of beer bottles at him in the first one. Why she thought she could crawl through a little doggy door that tall and about that wide baffles me. But she gets her head and her neck crushed by the garage door. She's all just, you know, just swaying back and forth. So, gotta hand it for Tatum. Nice kill. So, Sydney calls her, she calls her daughter Tatum. So, and now she's married. They have a nice little house in the suburbs. And then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. There's not just one killer. There's 3 killers. 3 killers. Now, for people that haven't seen it, I'm not going to say who the killer is because I don't want to ruin it for anyone else. 3 killers, a lot of twists. So, lots of twists. Lots of thrills, chills, kills, spills, bills. Just going nuts. Lots of kills. Favorite kill. All right, Visions, you ready for this? My favorite kill. It's kind of a funny kill. It's a good kill, but it's a funny kill. In the pizzeria, me and Dave are laughing our ass off. Dave looks at me when we're in the theater. I should have got it on camera. Dave looks at me and says, John, we may get a pizza kill. He goes, I bet you 10-1, Ghostface is going to take one of those kids and throw them in the pizza oven. I said, yeah, Dave. I said, I bet you. People get killed in a pizzeria, but not in the stove. So it was kind of a letdown. And I was like, damn, I said, throwing the high school kid, getting a pizza kill would have been great. But my favorite kill, he grabs that black girl, like literally just body slams her on the bar, takes her and just flies her across the bar. And there's all these, like, it's like this. So if here's the bar, he goes, bam, throws her on the bar and then pushes her forward through these bar glasses. Glass goes everywhere. It goes in her face, in her neck, and then he jumps on top of her to make sure that the glass goes in her neck. Blood is just like spewing out. She's just laying there all dead on the floor. So the bar kill. That's my favorite kill, Visions. Which one was yours? That's my favorite because he's like, oh yeah, fuck you. Boom, throws her on the table and then pushes her right across. Bada bing, bada boom. So yeah, I don't want to reveal too much, but I had to tell you guys my favorite kill. That was a pretty cool kill. So I'm going to give that a big thumbs up. So the bar kill. So favorite kill. The bar kill. Let's see here. Lots of suspense. Lots of danger. It's got every type of horror movie. They don't break all the horror movie rules, but they definitely break a couple of horror movie kills. I mean, they definitely break a couple of horror movie rules. Let's see. Vision says, I liked it when they put the guy's head on the beer tab, then the beer started flowing, spurting out of his mouth. That was a good kill too. Because you know what, Visions? I thought that guy was going to fucking live. And then all of a sudden he didn't, and I was like, oh shit, I thought that guy was going to live. Because every time, usually when you watch a Scream movie, it's kind of like an old-fashioned, kind of classic whodunit, like, well, did she do it? Is he the killer? Is he the killer? No. That guy just died. I bet you it's her. I bet you she's the killer. So I was trying to figure it out. When they revealed who the three killers was, I looked over at Dave and I said, Dave, I was so far off. And Dave looked at me and was like, oh yeah, Fears, I was too. So it was interesting who the killers was. I'm not going to say who the killers was, but yes, that was a good kill too, Vision. I did like that one. But he just like body slams her. Like, I'm just like, damn. And I thought that girl was going to get away because, she had the knife and she was throwing things at Ghostface, in the kitchen. And then she hides. And I'm like, this girl could actually make it. I'm like, she could actually make it out of the pizzeria. She could live because she put up a big fight. She was hitting Ghostface, and then Ghostface he gets up, Ghostface, and he kind of tilts his mask a little bit because she just hits him with some type of pizza stuff. I can't remember what it was in the kitchen. So Ghostface got hurt because he just kind of tilts his he tilts his head like this, and he kind of readjusts his mask because the mask kind of got lopsided because she's just throwing shit at him, kicking the shit out of him, punching him, doing anything and everything to get away from this crazy fuck. And I was like, she may live. And then she hides, and then she does the classic horror movie rule. She looks over the bar, and she's like, oh, is he gone? Is he gone? Oh, yeah, he's gone. She gets up, and then that's the end of her. Grabs her, body slams her, throws her right across the bar, right into the glass, and her blood spewing out. Great kill. All right, so what do we got? Nev Campbell's fucking hot. 3 killers. Lots of twists, lots of kills. Favorite kill is the bar kill. Lots of suspense, lots of danger. What else? Some of it happens in Woodsboro, and some of it happens in a new town. So, Woodsboro. And then I think the town that she lives in is Pine something. I can't remember what it is. Pine something. I like Ghostface's new costume. It's very similar. They've slightly altered the mask just a tiny bit. They made it more, it's white still, but it's kind of a whitish, grayish. And and at the bottom of his robe, there's a lot more tears in it. There's a lot more tears on his arms. So The new costume is looking good, but it literally very, very similar changes. Only very tiny changes is what I'm trying to say. Because you could look at Scream 7's mask and look at Scream 1, and they look almost identical. But you can kind of see just slight differences. So I liked the new alterations to the costume. Like a little old, a little new, but still rocking, you know. So I like the new mask and costume. Overall, it was pretty good. Like I said, I gave it a 9.1, Visions. Dave gave it a 9.7. It definitely, it was a fast-moving plot. It kept you on the edge of your seat, so I'm going to give it a 9.1. And the reason why I gave it so high is because I've always, ever since part 1, I've always enjoyed the Scream franchise. Not as much as Jason and Michael and Leatherface and, you know, all the other guys. But Ghostface hangs in there. It's pretty good. What's really cool is Ghostface can be anyone. Like, there's only one Chucky. There's only one Leatherface. There's only, well, now 2 people have played Freddy. But the remake sucks. So who gives a shit about the remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street? I can't believe they remade it. It was crap. It was fucking terrible. It was garbage. There's only one Freddy Krueger in my book, and that's good old Mr. England. I have so much respect for him. I cannot wait to meet him at a Comic-Con one day. When I meet him, Mr. England, John Fears, big fan. Nice to meet you, sir. I'm gonna ask him. I'm gonna ask him, Mr. England. Besides all of your Freddy kills, what's another favorite kill that you like out of one of your horror films? And I'm gonna see what he says. So, I've always enjoyed Ghostface. I've always enjoyed Ghostface. But my favorite still is Michael Myers. Always. So yeah. So yeah. All right. Let's see, what else? I do recommend it. I do still recommend Scream 7. It was a decent watch. I'm gonna write that down. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good though, but it was a decent watch. I mean, I got my money's worth. Unfortunately, I did not get a collector's cup. The lady goes, "Oh no," she goes, "we sold out like the second day." She goes, "If you ever want a collector's cup, you got to come within the first 3 days." She goes, "We only got like 250 collector's cups." I said, "Really?" I said, "Why didn't you guys get more?" She goes, "Oh, that's just all that the movie company sent us. And that's all that my main boss ordered." I was like, damn. So, no collector's cups. I'm sorry, Lantern. Lantern, I'm going to get to your comments in just a minute. I'm sorry, Lantern. I'm going nuts on movies. We did get a collector's cup, though. She goes, "All we have left is some Valentine's Day cups." And I was like, all right, I'll get a Valentine's Day cup. So Dave got one. I got one. Dave got some nachos, and I got a small bag of popcorn because I only got a snack because we went out to lunch, which I'm going to get to in just a minute. So yeah. So I do recommend it. It was a nice popcorn movie. Do recommend it. Popcorn movie. Classic slasher. It was a pretty good slasher. Pretty good slasher film. You know, they hack off bodies one by one. I'm gonna give it a big thumbs up. Again, I've seen better horror films in my day. Visions, we've talked about this before. They've already done Freddy vs. Jason. That movie was fantastic. Genius. I would love to see either Ghostface vs. Michael or Michael Myers vs. Jason, or maybe even Leatherface vs. Jason. You know, because they're about the same size and they both don't talk. Leatherface screams sometimes, but he doesn't really talk. Jason, the only time I've heard him, he's yelled out once, whenever, in part 3, when that lady with the blue Christmas sweater, she stabs him, like, in the hand. One of my favorite scenes where she's, like, going like this down the hallway, and he's all, like, you know, dodging her and shit. She stabs him in the leg, you know. So yeah. I want to see Elvis versus Nixon. Oh yeah, it was good. Visions. It's not versus. It's Elvis and Nixon. This is good, dude, because it's actually based on a true story, and it's so wacky and it's so random. Because Elvis was like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of youth, and he felt really bad. He goes, I want to try to help. He felt bad about all the anti-war stuff. He goes, people are treating the veterans and like crap. He goes, I'm so sick and tired of people like putting down the veterans. I'm sick and tired of like youth today just doing all the drugs. And he's like, I'm going to write a letter to the president. I'm going to try to help, you know. And I don't know how much he helped, but he definitely got to meet Nixon, and they definitely had a funny interaction. Because towards the end, Elvis was getting fatter. He was kind of losing his mind towards the end because he was doing a shit ton of drugs towards the end. Which is funny. He did a lot of drugs, but he didn't like other people doing drugs. So where's the logic in that? Because he took so many pain medicines. He took sleep pills, and he did other types of drugs towards the end of his life. But he didn't like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I guess he was kind of a hypocrite, but he was the king, man. I still love his music. Even though he was kind of wacky towards the end, he still was the fucking king. So yeah. And he had some really cool sunglasses. Hell yeah. Yeah, watch it, Visions. Good watch. Good watch. Nice. For once, I'm finally, recommending some movies to you, buddy, because you're always, you and your brother and everybody in the chat, you guys are always giving me good references to watch. And hardly ever do I give you guys a good one. I mean, I always tell people, oh, I recommend this one, or I don't recommend it, and I write it in the book. But hardly ever. I usually forget sometimes, and I apologize to be like, oh, yeah, you guys got to watch this. Every once in a while I do, so it's nice to give back. And, yeah, that one's good, and I'm glad that you liked P2. P2 is rad. So, yeah. All right, let me get back to Mr. Lantern's comments. Let me catch up with the comments. Here we go. Mr. Lantern says, our crown is lit. Next crown for me. I like it when they put the guy's head on a beer tab. That was a good kill, too. I liked it. Lantern says, Fears blocked me. No, I didn't, Lantern. No, I didn't. I just haven't read your comments yet, Lantern. I'm sorry. Fears skipped our comments. I'm reading them now, Lantern. Fears didn't read our comments. Fears is ignoring us. Can't believe Fears blocked us again. I didn't block you, Lantern. Fears ignored us again. I'm sorry, Lantern. I'm getting to it now. I was talking horror movie talk, Lantern. Fears can't see us. I can absolutely see you, Lantern. Fears put us on hidden mode. No, I didn't, Lantern. Vision says, maybe after watching so many movies and going off so many best movies of all times list, I became too critical. I don't think you're too critical, Visions. I think you just like what you like, That's how most people are. You either are going to like a film or you're not going to like a film. Like I thought Arcade was going to be epic. I was like, this is crap. This is garbage. This is boring. The only reason why I gave it a 4 out of 10 was when they actually took down the villain in the actual arcade game. That was a good scene. And then Peter's in it. I think he's a fantastic actor. He played Ralphie in A Christmas Carol. He played a scientist in the first Tony Stark. He played in Elf. He played an elf at the North Pole with Buddy the Elf with Will Ferrell. I thought he was fantastic in that film. Seth Green's in it, and it must have been one of Seth Green's first performances because he looks so young. Seth Green, my favorite performance as Seth Green. I loved him in Idle Hands, and I loved him when that guy's hand goes evil, and he ends up killing Seth, and he kills his other friend, and then Seth comes back as a zombie and all that bullshit. He was great in that, and then I loved him as Scott Evil. Scott Evil, I like him on Family Guy. Hang on. I forgot what character he voices on Family Guy. I loved him as Scott Evil, though. Hang on, I'm having a brain fart here. Hang on. I know he's on Family Guy. Does he play Brian? No, he doesn't play Brian. He doesn't play Stewie. That's Seth MacFarlane. Hey, Meta, on the cartoon show Family Guy, what characters do Seth Green play? Because I know he plays multiple characters on that.
Seth Green plays Chris Griffin, the eldest child of the Griffin family, Neil Goldman, their Jewish neighbor, and several other characters on Family Guy.
All right, Chris. He plays Chris. And he plays the Jewish neighbor. That's right. Okay. That's right, y'all. Yeah, and Chris is a great character off of Family Guy. Stewie's one of my favorites. Stewie's funny and all that. So yeah, but yeah, I don't think you're too critical, Visions. You're just a big movie guy like me. Like Bukaki, he likes what he likes. Like he told me for a while. I don't know if he does it anymore, but he said Fears for a while. I watched every type of like He-Man type of beast movie with swords and like Conan. He said I got obsessed with it. He said for a while he watched a lot of movies like where is it? Where is it? I can't remember where I put it. I was going to use it as a reference and I can't find it. I can't find it. There's one movie that I bought that had a bunch of like beasts on it. I haven't watched it yet. I can't find it. Anyway, but yeah, you just like what you like. You know what I'm saying? Either like it's that simple. So I don't think you're too critical, buddy. You just like what you like. Like I like Michael. I always have. I always will. Do I like Jason? Yes, I like Jason. But do I like Jason more than Michael? Hell no. Michael, I'll always like more than Jason. Do I like Freddy? Yes, I do. But do I like him as much as Michael? Hell no. So you just like what you like. And so I don't think you're being too critical at all. I wish I had someone here to type for me while I work. Well, I mean, just, type when you can. I know you work a lot. Lantern says, yep. Quit and stop ignoring me. I'm sorry, Lantern. I'm trying to catch up. Okay, Fears. I want to see Elvis. Speaking of Seth Green, I just watched Can't Hardly Wait about a month ago, and it's funny that the main guy from that movie is in the new Scream. I haven't seen him in anything else in years. Yeah. He was also, when he was real young, Seth Green was in that. I doubt they'll ever put it on Blu-ray, but I found it at I almost said Best Buy. I found it at Blockbuster years ago. It's an old 80s, 90s movie. It's called Airborne, where Seth Green, his brother is like obsessed with like surfing, and then he moves to like a really cold town, and then he can't surf anymore. So his new thing is rollerblading, and basically the kind of like the losers, the outcasts take on the jocks in this ultimate like rollerblading like competition, and Seth Green and his brother like participate in it. So if you ever seen Airborne, that's a good one that Seth Green's in. It's an old one, and it must be one of his first starring roles, because Jack Black is in it, and he's super young. He looks like he's 17 or 18, Jack Black. So yeah. So Seth Green, but my favorite though is him in Family Guy. Doesn't matter what character Seth Green plays in Family Guy, he's fantastic. And I love him as Scott Evil in Austin Powers. He's like, I haven't seen you my whole life, and you just come back in and expect a relationship? I hate you. And then Dr. Evil's like, give me a hug. He's like, no way. He's like, let's go. Come on. He's like, I'm not coming over there. And he's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm hip. I'm with it. And he's like, well, don't look at me like I'm freaking Frankenstein. Come over here and give your father a hug. And he goes, get away from me, you psycho. He goes, I'm not giving you a hug. But the way he says it, Visions, I was fucking losing my mind. Scott Evil is one of his greatest performances. All right. So, let's see. Back to Scream 7. So I put, Nev Campbell is fucking hot. Seriously, if I ever meet her, I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to go up to her and say, Miss Campbell, John Fears, very nice to meet you. I would love a photo and an autograph. Do a little selfie. I'd be like, you look sexy, I'm look sexy, do a little, and get the selfie. And then I'm going to say, well, Miss Campbell, I do have a confession to make. And I'll be as polite as possible. I'll be like, you were my first celebrity crush. I saw you, It Takes Two to Tango. I've seen you on Friends. Her SNL performances on Saturday Night Live, genius. She plays the Ghostface Killer on SNL. So she was on, the first thing I saw her in, she did an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark on Nickelodeon. I swear to God, people are not going to believe me. If you look up one of her first performances, she's from Canada, and they filmed Are You Afraid of the Dark primarily in Canada. I think they filmed some of it in California, but primarily it was all in Canada. I used to watch Are You Afraid of the Dark all the time on Nickelodeon. She did one episode, and I forgot what type of episode it was, but she was on there. So I've always had a thing for Nev Campbell. So yeah. Well, thank you, Visions. I appreciate that. I don't think I'm super beautiful. I don't at all. But I appreciate you saying that, my friend. So, I'm going to tell her that you were my first celebrity crush. I don't have too many celebrity crushes. I think she's hot. She's hot for 53. I would go out with Nev Campbell in a heartbeat. Oh, yeah. Mrs. Grande. She's pretty hot. I definitely would go out with her. Sandra Bullock. She's hot. The lady from Speed. Smoking. Cameron Diaz. She's pretty hot. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. Sandra Bullock, though. She's pretty hot. She's pretty hot. Hot. All right, so I gave it a 9.1. Nev Campbell's fucking hot. There's 3 killers. I like the new ghost face mask and the new robe. Lots of twists, lots of thrills, kills, spills. Favorite kill is the bar kill. Lots of suspense, lots of danger. Part of it takes place in Woodsboro, and then it takes place in the other. I would call it a nice slasher popcorn film. I'm going to give it a big thumbs up, and I do recommend it. Check it out. All right, time for A Nightmare on Elm Street Part Deuceage. I haven't seen it in a long time, so yeah. A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. They slightly alter Robert Englund's makeup. They made his eyes like bright red. In the first one, you can see a lot of his white pupils. In this one, he had red contacts on, so his eyes are more devilish. More makeup's on his face. They cut up his sweater a little bit more, so I actually like Freddy's look more in Part 2 than Part 1. Part 1 is still my favorite, but his look is way better in Part 2. So his look is way better in Part 2. The guy that played in, what's his name? Q Glover, I think is his name. That's the actor's name. He's the guy that plays Bert in Return of the Living Dead. He plays the father in Nightmare on Elm Street 2. I forgot that he did that. That guy's done like over 100 westerns. Then after the westerns, he did a lot of action movies. And then towards the end of his career, he's still alive. Last time I looked, he's still alive. Towards the end of his career before retirement, he started doing a lot of horror movies, Dude, I guess that's all he could get, being kind of an older actor. I think he's a fantastic actor. He's fucking genius in Return of the Living Dead. He was on Airwolf. He did 1 episode of MacGyver, I think 2 episodes of Airwolf. He's a great actor. So the guy that played Bert is in Nightmare. So a lot of cameos. Bert is in it, is the dad. Pretty good acting. My favorite kill is the barbecue. Is the barbecue kill. All these kids, they're drinking beer and smoking weed and have premarital sex. We just love premarital sex. And then Freddy comes flying out of the pool and he starts slashing everybody. That's the best kill. The barbecue kill. Barbecue kills is the best. And basically the premise is that Nancy has moved out and now she's at a I think she's at an orphanage because you find out in the beginning of the film that her mother committed suicide. And so the house has been vacant for years because of all the murders in the first one. And finally, this new family moves in, and Freddy's like, oh, well, I'll just use their son to get into the real world to kill all these new kids on Elm Street, and I'll just cause mad fucking chaos. So this one kid is having all these dreams. He's like a teenager, and he's new, and he's trying to, like, you know, mac on this chick, and he's got a couple good dates with it, and then all of a sudden he starts getting all these crazy dreams, and Freddy's telling him what to do, and so it's him battling Freddy and Freddy trying to kill people in the dream world and then try to get out in the real world and go nuts. So it's a good sequel. Is it better than the first one? Absolutely not. The first one is absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to write down it's a good sequel, but not it's not as good as the first one. It's a good sequel. Good sequel. I appreciate everybody. I didn't think I would get too many watchers this late. I got 12 people watching. I really appreciate you guys sticking with Fears before I go off to work. And thank you. I appreciate it, guys. Appreciate it. You guys are awesome. All right. Thank you for the 2 likes. I appreciate the 2 likes. Let's see here. If I had to grade it, I'm going to give it a solid... It's good, but it's not as good as number 1. Most sequels aren't. Some sequels live up, like Terminator 2 is just as good as Terminator 1. I mean, I think that's fair to say, Visions. They're both epic. T1, amazing. 10 out of 10. T2, 10 out of 10. Genius. Your Terminated fucker destroys the Terminator in a hydraulic press. Genius. Genius. I love it. I love it. This one, I'm going to give it a 9.4 out of 10. It's a great watch. I hadn't seen it in a while, so pretty good. So 9.4 out of 10. I do recommend it. I will probably watch it again and around Halloween time, as I always do. So... everyone's been telling me, I forgot to tell you guys this, whenever Fears pops this hat out, I decided to give this hat. You guys know this hat is my all-time favorite hat. Empire Strikes Back. Part deuces of the original series. Oh yeah, Empire Strikes Back. Way better than A New Hope. Not that I don't like A New Hope. A New Hope is a rockin'. Return of the Jedi is a rockin'. I just like this one the best, but I decided to give this a little break, so I'm going to rock this hat for a little while. I still haven't bought a new Ghostbuster hat to replace the one I lost, so yeah. And then when Spooky Empire gets closer, I'm going to be rocking my Spooky Empire hat. I need to get a new one, a new hat. I want to get a hat that says, I love Blu-rays. Or maybe, Visions, I know you said you do embroidery. Maybe I'll pick out a black hat. And maybe I'll have one that says, I love Blu-ray gems. And I'll have like 2 Blu-rays and then 2 little gems on the side. Something. I got to come up with something. Because I do love VHSs, but I love me some gems. Clearly I love some Blu-ray gems. All right. I love them. Will Fears ever watch all these? Whatever I don't watch, I'll just tell Shelton, hey, I'm going to die soon. So you just keep up the movie reviews and you keep the channel rocking and you eventually watch them all. So I'm going to watch as much as I can. So yeah. So whatever I don't watch, he's going to take over. So yeah. I know the channel is in good hands. I know he will carry on the Fears legacy at some point. You know, because I have the greatest fans in the entire world. I love you guys. You guys rock. You guys are awesome. I really can't thank you enough. You guys are awesome. All right, moving on. So, oh wait, I'm sorry. My two favorite scenes. I forgot to tell my two favorite scenes out of Scream and my two favorite scenes out of A Nightmare. I'm sorry. So my two favorite scenes in Scream 7, probably that bar scene where Ghostface just body slams that chick and he's like, yeah, try by, you're fucking dead. Peace, deuce, see you later. Shunk! Right across the bar. She gets tons of glass in her face, in her neck. And I was like, well, if she isn't dead, she's going to be dead pretty quickly. So, not only is that the best kill, but that's one of my favorite scenes. So, that's probably my second favorite scene. So, the pizzeria scene. My favorite scene, though, is when they know that the killer is in the house. Like she's like, all right, well, one person's dead. She tells Tatum, get your to-go bag ready. She goes, we're getting the fuck out of here. And she's like, well, I already unpacked my bag. And she's like, Jesus, Tatum. She's like, I told you to have your bag ready to go in case any of this bullshit happens. So they're repacking it. All of a sudden, Ghostface, you see him slide the attic door open. Kind of reminiscing a little bit of Black Christmas. You know what I'm saying, Visions? The killer in the attic. It was a nice throwback. I was like, oh, shit. The killer in the attic, like Black Christmas. I was like, oh, now we're talking. You see the killer jump down from the attic. They find out, and Sydney has prepared for this. So she has kind of like a safe room. She puts in the code. They go in the safe room, and to get out to the garage, they have to slide their way through this little crack. Like the crack's about that much. It's a crawl space. So they're in the safe house, and then there's a little access way that goes through the little crawl space, and they climb down these stairs into the garage, and then they open this door, and the door is like on the side of the house, like near the garage. So it's kind of like a nice escape plan. And then Ghostface hears them crawling through the walls, and he kind of does one of these. He like, with his blade, he knocks on the wall. It's creepy as hell. And the knife gets about that far from Sydney's face and Tatum's face. So he's all doing this. He's walking by and he's all like, hello? 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 And then bam, 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 bam. And he shoves the knife all through the wall like 10, 15 times. And I'm telling you guys, the blade gets about that far from their face. And they're like, whoa, shit. So that's probably my favorite scene, because it got intense, and it got intense quick. So the wall scene. The wall scene's probably my favorite scene. That was a pretty good scene. All right, and then my two favorite scenes out of Nightmare on Elm Street 2, without a doubt, my favorite scene is the barbecue scene. All of it. Like, when the main character, he's trying to chill out, you know, with his babe, and then he's like, you know what, I think I'm going to take off. This barbecue isn't my thing. She's like, well, I threw this party to make you relax. She goes, you've been so, like, terrified of this Friday guy. You know, we should just relax. So he's like, all right. So they start having sex, and I'm like, ooh, here we go. Friday comes out, starts killing everybody at the party, going nuts. Classic 80s thriller. They're drinking beer, premarital sex, smoking weed, doing drugs, going ballistic. So the barbecue scene. And then my second favorite scene, let's see here. Probably the opening credits where it's a dream sequence. He's on a bus. Freddy becomes, and he's riding to school. And Freddy becomes the bus driver. And he's like, need a lift? And they drive out to the desert. And then the bus is like on these rocks, and the bus keeps going back and forth. Even though it's a dream sequence, that opening shot is pretty good. So my second favorite scene is the opening shot. Because that shot's pretty badass. There we are. All right. All right, let's see. What's next? Let's see. I did the Nerd Hall. I'm going to review me and Dave's day. It was a pretty fun day. So, Dave/Fears Hangout review. So, we went somewhere new. Dave suggested the comic book. It was a nice comic book shop, but it was little. But it was still good, though. So, went to... It's called Windu Comics. I'm going to give it a big thumbs up. It was very nice. I found this bad boy. So, went to Windu Comics. A nice Star Wars, reference there. Windu Comics. Went to Pizza Hut for lunch. It was an actual sit-down pizza because I haven't done that in a while. The last 2 times, I ate there. In one of the first few vlogs when I moved down here in 2019, I just found it and I was like, damn, I have not sat in an actual Pizza Hut. Actually sit down with the salad buffet and the whole 9 yards. It's been a while. And then the time before that, I was like 10. So that's my second time eating at the Pizza Hut here in Florida. Very good. So, little Pizza Hut diner. And we had a little snack at the theater. I had a popcorn and a soda, but a very small bag of popcorn because I knew we were going to eat lunch. Dave got nachos and cheese, and he got a drink. For lunch, I just got a personal pan pizza, and then I did the salad bar. Good salad. So, salad, personal pan pizza, and I did vlog. So, I didn't film a lot today, but you guys will see me and Dave's hangout. I'll probably put it at the end of one of the next few vlogs, so you guys will eventually see it. So, it was a really fun day. So I did a salad, personal pan pizza. I did my classic visions, pepperoni and sausage. Oh yeah, now we're talking. Big thumbs up. It was good. Not too much cheese. It was nice and hot and tasty. The pepperonis were rockin' and shocking, my friends. It was tasty. And again, I only drink soda when I'm out and about with the guys. If I'm here, I drink because soda is so fattening, and I've been getting better at eating healthier. I need to, because all the hard work during the week, like all the walks and all the gym time, it's all for nothing. Because then I pig out on crap on the weekends. So I need to only maybe have one cheat day. Like maybe Saturday I'll just have a cheat day. Saturday and Sunday and Friday night I just veg out on, tons of junk food. I need to be more strict on my diet. All through the week, I eat healthy salads. I make healthy food like chicken and rice. I have tons of healthy snacks in the fridge. Raisins, blueberries, strawberries, coconut, celery, carrots. I mean, you guys see me eat it all the time. So I've been getting better at eating healthier because I really want to lose this weight. I really do. Or I want to lose as much weight as possible. Let's see what else. Let's see. Went to Windu Comics. Got some free comics. And Dave is such a good friend. I wasn't really thinking about Shelton because I already bought him 2 sets of clothes. My mom's like, don't buy any more, John. She goes, you got the Hawaiian shirt. She goes, what do you want to buy him when you come? I said, I'm either going to get him some cool Vans, some really cool little kid Vans because I like Vans, or some really cool little kid Converse shoes to match all of his Hawaiian shirts and stuff. I said, or we'll get him a toy. And my mom's like, that's perfect. She goes, you already bought him enough. You already got him all the Hawaiian shirts. And I said, well, Mom, it's not just a shirt. I said, it's a whole set. I said, I got him some shorts to match the Hawaiian shirt. And I said, the ladies at the store helped me with the sizes because this is all new to me buying, little kid clothes and stuff. But I'm trying to be the best uncle. And I appreciate all your guys' support. Kate has said nothing but nice things. You guys have said nothing but nice things about Shelton. You guys think he's, adorable. I think he's adorable. I love being an uncle. I absolutely love being the cool uncle. So, yeah. His party is gonna rock. It's gonna be epic. Get a lot of family time in. I'll do some lives. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good times. Oh, Lantern. Lantern's doing that bourbon, y'all. Well, Lantern, just for you, I'll do a crown check, my friends. So, crown check time. Oh, Lantern, Visions, you were in the lead. Lantern pulled ahead. So, in 5th place, it's still Seamus. 4th place is N4. BPM is 3. Visions is 2. And Lantern coming in hot with 1. Lantern? Because usually, I'm telling you, usually it's a fight to the death between Visions and Lord Lantern on those crowns, my friends. So, will Lantern be able to keep his crown to the very end? I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out. I got to end this soon. It's 3:43, and I got to be at work at 4:30. So I'm gonna try to. We may have to do the beef jerky thing for tomorrow, but I'm definitely gonna finish hot, finish strong with the Dave and Fears Hangout review. So we got to, let's see, I did all 3 movie reviews. I did the Nerd Hall, and then I did. I'm right in the middle of doing the Dave and Fears Hangout review. So we'll save the beef. I found Mr. Beef's jerky at the gas station. So I said, well, I already did some of his chocolate bars. I said, I'll save the beef jerky review for later on today after work. So yeah. All right, what else? So free comics, and Dave was such a cool friend to show me those free comics. I walked right by him, and he was like, "Hey, Fears," he goes, "I know you already got like Shelton's birthday gift locked and loaded." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I got him a Beetlejuice bib from Atomic Horror." I said, "I got him 2 epic Hawaiian shirts." I said, "He's gonna be rocking." And I said, when I get home to Missouri, I'm gonna buy him either Converse shoes or Vans. And my mom's like, "What color?" I was like, "Who cares?" I said, as long as it's Converse or Vans. I said, "Mom, I don't care what color it is. You know, he's just got to have some cool." I said, "Now that he's got some cool threads, he's got to have some cool shoes." And my mom's like, "Fair enough." And I was like, "Oh yeah." And then my mom wants me to buy him a toy, so I said, "Whatever toy you want to pick out, Mom, you just let me know and I'll buy it." Well, whatever he wants. And then Dave showed me that. And even though Windu Comics was small, I'm going to give the actual comic book store, I'm going to give it a solid 9 out of 10, even though it was small. So, comic book store, small, but good, 9 out of 10. Pretty good. I highly recommend it. Let's see, what else? We went and saw the movie, so went and saw Scream. Visions, we almost had the whole place to ourselves. There was me, Dave in there, an old, I wouldn't say an old couple. They were older. I'd say they were in their mid-50s. There was a woman and her husband, and I'm sitting here, and then I'm sitting here, and then Dave, there was an empty seat, and then Dave sat here, and then way down the middle, we sat kind of like in the middle, way down, I'd say about 9 or 10 seats down, there was an older couple, not like an elderly couple. I'd say they were like mid-50s. And then on the very bottom, there was some young people. I'd say like a young couple, like maybe 20, 21. It was a guy and a girl. And I looked over, I said, "Dave," I said, "we almost have this entire theater." And Dave's like, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Well, that's why I wanted to come early, Fears." He goes, "Plus, my ticket was only $8. You know, normally a ticket at Epic Theater, I think it's around, don't quote me, it's usually around $10 to $15. Hang on. Let me see if I was right, because I haven't been there in a while, so. Hey, Meta. Oh, wait, hang on. I need to take it off of airplane mode. Hey, Meta. Me and my buddy Dave went to the movie theaters yesterday, and they were doing a deal. My tickets at Epic Theater were around $8.50 with tax. On a normal day, what's a normal ticket pricing for Epic Theaters?
Epic Theater's normal ticket pricing varies depending on the time of day, age, and location. For weekday evening shows, adult tickets usually cost around $11, give or take, while seniors and children typically pay around $8 to $9. Matinee shows are cheaper, with adult tickets starting at around $8 to $9.
Oh, I was right. So matinee. So we did a matinee, and mine was around $8, but with tax, it was like $8.50. Dave got his senior discount, so I think he had to pay like $7.50, but great pricing. So good pricing at the theater. Good pricing. And the popcorn and the soda was not too much. I think total, well, because I got the collector's cup, I think the whole thing, like the collector's cup and the popcorn, I think it was like $18. So it wasn't too incredibly bad. You know, it wasn't bad. Barely anyone there. I mean, we almost had the theater to ourselves. It was awesome. It was so much fun. So lots of fun. Now, I do have some bad news. Because I haven't been to that theater in forever, some people, there's been a lot of new people that work there, but one of the oldest people, that young guy that's always dishing out the popcorn in my vlogs, was behind the counter, and I'm vlogging away, and he said, Fears, he goes, I'm still subscribed, he goes, I still watch your stuff, I love your vlogs, I love the passion, I love the drive. I said, oh, well, thank you. And he goes, I got some bad news, though. He goes, you know our, that really cool manager that lets you just go buck wild and lets you film whatever? And I said, yeah, I forgot her name. And he goes, her name's Sierra. And I said, oh, yeah. I said, how's Sierra doing? He goes, oh, she's doing good. He goes, but buddy, he goes, I got some bad news. And I said, oh, what's the bad news? And he goes, well, she still works here, but she just put in her 2 weeks, so she's only going to be here for 2 more weeks. And I was like, oh, man. So I guess she found a better job. So I think in the next 2 weeks, Fears is going to try to go again to the theater to tell her a proper goodbye, because she was such a kick-ass manager. But and I met all the new managers. They're all very nice. And they put in a lot more video games at the theater since I've been there. It's been forever. I haven't been back to that theater since I went and saw that new Superman movie. And I liked that one. Visions Bukaki actually said, Fears, I went and saw the new Superman. He goes, I already know that you like Superman already to begin with. He goes, I know you'll love it. Go fucking watch Superman. And I did. But the only thing I didn't like about it is they did not do the classic Clark Kent transforming into Superman. And I was like, that's bullshit. I'm like, that is one of the defining things of Superman, and they don't fucking do it. I'm like, that's fucking bullshit. But I still enjoyed it, and I still bought it. It's over here. I still need to watch it and review it for you guys, but I did see it in the theater. So the last few movies, I went and saw Scream 7 with Dave. I went and saw Superman by myself. I took Sega, when Sega was in town, I took him to see Megan 2.0. That was all right. It was a decent watch. I like Megan Part 1 a hell of a lot better than Megan Part 2. Megan Part 1 is far more believable than Part 2. Part 2 was getting way into science fiction theater and all that bullshit, and I'm just like, yeah, this one, I said the first one was more believable. And then before I took Sega to see that, I went and saw the sequel to Beetlejuice. The last time I talked to Sierra was around, I think she was there when I took Sega to see Megan 2.0. So, unfortunately, she's not going to be in the vlogs anymore, but I'm going to try to say goodbye. I'm going to try to go see one more movie before she's going to be there for 2 more weeks. But you know what? I wish her luck. You know, she's moving on to bigger and better things. Super nice lady. She's such a nice lady. She was like, John, I don't care what you film. You can go buck wild. So we'll see how much I can get away with the new managers whenever I'm filming and going nuts there. I didn't bring I didn't bring the costume. It was so damn hot yesterday. I did bring the ghost face mask, and I wore the ghost face mask for some of the kills. I got some footage in the mask. I got a couple selfies. Visions, I sent you. I don't know if you saw it. I sent you a photo of me and Dave. Dave's all like this in the photo, and then I'm all like, yeah, you know, with the ghost face mask on. So we had a great time. So let's see what else. What else have I not covered? Ticket pricings were good. Lots of fun. Went to Windu Comics. Got some free comics. Went to Pizza Hut. Got a salad, personal pan pizza. The comic book store, I gave a 9 out of 10. The movie was good. I really enjoyed the music. Lantern, I'm going to catch up with your chat. Lantern says, burp, 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 burping, 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 hiccup, hiccup, hiccup. There you go, Lantern. Lantern, I would never ignore you. Just sometimes I get really into my conversations, Lantern. And I had to hurry and get all this stuff in before I mosey on off to work. So, because I'm going to be ending it pretty soon, my friends. So let's see, what else? What else did we do? We did Scream. We did Pizza Hut. We did the Windu comics. Me and Dave were jamming out to 80s tunes all the way back. So 80s tunes. And then on the way back, we saw this kick-ass 1970s car. I got it for the vlog. I forgot the name. I think it was a Chevy. Oh, Dave knew what it was right away. It was like a brownish car. And I was like, Dave, I got to get this for the vlog. Dave took a photo of it. We got it for the vlog. I can't remember the name of the... It was a really nice vintage car. Just driving down the road. It was like mint condition. Such a cool car. I forgot the name of it, though. Dave says it in the vlog, so when you guys see it, yeah. Dave gave the movie a 9.7. I gave the movie a 9.1. Because I've seen better Scream movies. The only one that I don't really care for, it's okay. I really wasn't all about Sydney going to, Hollywood, and there was only one. Roman Bridger, there was only one killer. I like that it was her brother, because that makes sense. Like, her family's all fucked up with all these Stu Macher and Billy Loomis, and, oh, we're going to kill you. Oh, we hate you, Sid. And so it makes sense that the killer was her brother in part 3, but I don't know, just part 3, it's just kind of, nah, you know? The first one and number 6 are still my favorite. If I had to pick a third one, probably 5. But 7, it was decent. It was a decent watch. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's already on my movie app. So whenever it comes out on Blu-ray, I'll get it, because I got every single Scream movie in the collection. So when it comes out, I'll buy it. But I already got it on the movie app. So yeah. All right. I'm going to rate the whole day. The whole day as a whole, I'm going to give it a solid... I'm going to give it a solid 9.8 out of 10. Usually hanging out with either just me and Dave is always a blast. It's always a blast when me, Dave, Tina, James, everybody hang out. It's always a blast. So 9.8 out of 10. I do... Now, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this. I was a little upset that Larry stayed on Zach's live that long, because you know what I really wanted to do? Mike was on there. And that would have been a great opportunity just to go in and say, hey, listen, Mike, I really fucked up, man. I know we said apologies. I hope one day that me and Mike can reconcile. You know? Like, I think one day he would like to. I don't know, it just seems like that, because he hasn't blocked me on YouTube. And he's blocked me everywhere else. But I just think if me and him talked it out, because I love Mike's content. I think Mike is a fantastic guy. And I would hate for us to, over one little argument, because our friendship started off great, and now we're not friends, you know? So I really wanted to go on there and say, hey, Mike, how you doing? It's John. And I don't know if he would have actually stayed on there if I would have came on. So maybe it's good that I didn't go on there, you know? But I knew that people keep saying that I'm afraid of Larry. For the 1 billionth time, I am not afraid of Larry whatsoever. He is so annoying. I don't want to deal with his bullshit. Why would I want to hang out with him? He made me change my number. He's trolled me to the ends of the earth, harassed me for 6.5 months. I want nothing to do with him. I think Larry's a piece of shit. And he always will be a piece of shit. And then I heard someone say, oh, Larry, you think you're going to go visit Fears again? If he does, I swear to holy God, I'm going to call the police and get a fucking restraining order on him, because Larry is certifiably fucking insane. So if he gets anywhere near my car or my home, I'm going to get a restraining order. I'm not kidding. So, yeah. So, Yeah, oh, I saw it, Visions. I saw it. Yeah. But that's really a shame because I have not said anything bad about Mike. I think even though Mike wants nothing to do with me, I will still continue to watch his content. So yeah, I will still continue to watch his content and support Mike's channel because I think his content is absolutely fantastic. So I hope one day Mike changes his mind. I really do. That's what I'm gonna say. Zach says I'm heading to bed, but I spoke with Mike. Oh no, I heard it. I heard it. Anyway, hey Zach, thanks for hanging in there and watching my live, buddy. So what I'm trying to say is, yeah, I'm about to go to work, Zach. I'm closing up the live. So what I'm trying to say is the reason why I brought this up is it was good to see Mike on Zach's channel. Zach, you knocked the live out of the park, my friend. I loved it. I just wish Larry wouldn't have stayed on there that long because I only got to hang out with Zach for about not even an hour, maybe 30 minutes. And I would have loved to went on there and just said hello to Mike and said, "Hey Mike, how you doing? I hope everything's well." He may have stayed, he may not have stayed, but we'll never know because Larry didn't give me that opportunity. And I would have just said, "Hey man, I just want to apologize again." And so I hope one day Mike will change his mind. That's all I'm trying to say. He probably won't. He probably won't change his mind, but I hope he does one day because I would really like to reconcile because our friendship started off great and then all of a sudden it abruptly ended over one little argument. It sucks. So I hope one day he changes his mind. If he doesn't ever change his mind, then I wish him luck and I will still watch his channel. So yeah. So I wasn't talking any shit about Mike. I just wanted to throw that out there. So yeah. So yeah. Anyway. Well, I got to take off, but I hope you guys enjoy the live. I always enjoy hanging out with you guys. Thank you for the 2 likes. Thanks for everybody still watching. I didn't think... I only lost 2 people. So, from when I started my live, we started at 12 viewers, and now we're down to 10. So, I appreciate everybody staying until wee hours of the morning. Anyway, I gave the Dave and Fears Hangout a 9.8 out of 10. Zach, I wish you could have came out with us because it was so much fun, my friend. Zach says, no problem. Tonight was the longest I've ever went. 6 hours and 5 minutes. The most I've ever went, Zach, was 11 hours. And Visions, you were there for almost the entire time. It was either 11 hours or 11 hours and 30 minutes because it sucks. YouTube cuts you off. So let's say you wanted to do a 24-hour stream, right? You would have to do it like this. You would have to do 11 hours and 50 minutes because if you hit 12 hours or 12:01, YouTube has this stupid bullshit rule where they don't allow you to keep it on your channel. So if I spent all that time like preparing for 11 and a half hours, I'd be like, oh, YouTube's not like taking my stream away. I'm keeping it. In order to do a 24-hour stream, you'd have to do it like 11 hours and then another 11 hours and then the last couple of hours, you would just break it down into a little live and do a 24-hour one. I think that's bullshit. I think if YouTube should switch it to however you want to, like, YouTube should switch the streaming thing. If you want to stream as long as fucking possible, like if you want to stream for a week, let them stream for a week and then you'll probably get more views because whenever I do long ass lives, whether it's 2, 3, 4 hours, whatever, I get a shit ton of views. So just think if someone went live continuously for 3 or 4 days in a row and just kept it flowing. But you can't do that. You have to do it like, so to cover my ass, whenever I get close to that 12-hour mark, I'm like, all right, guys, it's almost 12 hours. In order to keep my live, I'm going to end it at 11 hours and blah, blah minutes. So, Zach, if you ever do a 24-hour stream, you got to remember that because if you hit 12 or 12:01, they'll be like, nope, you streamed too long. We're taking it off your channel. You don't get to keep it. And it sucks. I'm like, that's fucking bullshit. So, yeah. Anyway, that's a good place to stop. I gotta take off, my friends. But great stream. I got everything that I wanted in. And I'll save the beef jerky review for tomorrow. Thank you for the likes. Thanks for watching. Vision says, yeah, that was when you called into work to finish the Johnny 5 build. That stream rocked. Well, I almost lost my mind. But then I did another one. Remember, Visions? I did another 11-hour one because that one I deleted because I was so ashamed of myself for getting that mad over a fucking Lego build. And I don't get a lot of shit now for the builds, but oh my god, for weeks on end, the trolls were like, Fears got that mad over a fucking baby build, and then, I so regret getting that mad over that build. And then I did another 10-hour vlog. I mean, a 10-hour stream for something else. So, Zach, that's the two. The two biggest ones was 11 hours, and then another one was 10 hours. But one day I would love to do a 24-hour stream because everyone has been going nuts about it ever since I started streaming. So no one's, I think, been able to do it. I think the only one that's done, I think Sega did one, and I think Tommy NC 2010 did one I could be wrong, but Carrie's never done one. I've never done one. Richie's never done one. Richie's done a lot of sleep streams, but yeah. But hey, Zach, it was a good stream, buddy. It was. I wish I could have been on there longer with you, buddy, but maybe next Sunday. Hopefully you'll allow me to be on there more. It's just, Larry's an absolute bastard for staying on there that long. It just is what it is. So, yeah. I knew that's what he was going to do. So, it is what it is. He'll always be an asshole. He always will be an asshole. It just is what it is. So, yeah. But on a good note, I love you guys. That was a great stream. You guys are the best. I'm going to mosey on off to work and look forward to another live later on today. So, yeah. All right. I'm signing off. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my friend Zach, the Incredible Impression. Give him a like, give him a view, give him a sub. We got to get Zach to 3,000, just like Fears. Hell yeah. Like, comment, and subscribe to my buddy, Mr. Lantern. He does a show every Thursday night, every Friday night. Subscribe to Mama Bear 06. We got to get her to 100 subs. Shout out to Tina. Tina is awesome. She's nice. She's sweet. She's adorable. Give her a like. Give her a sub. Subscribe to Strong Bear 19. We got to get Dave to 500 subs. Dave makes epic content, my friends. Last chip challenge coming soon. We were going to do it today, but we ran out of time. I'll be nice. Subscribe to Richie Wright on YouTube. Get him to 5,000 YouTube. That's right. Subscribe to the Sega Camp Gamer and Wear Camp. Follow the Sega Camp Gamer 22 on Twitch. Follow my buddy Visions, Lord Visions on YouTube, and then tiptoe on over to exhumvisions.com. Buy some cool shit. Why? Because he's working on that shit right now, and he actually makes some pretty cool shit. I got your back, buddy. And Visions, when you come to visit, either when I come to visit, I'll buy you one of these from Atomic Horror and I'll bring it to you. Or when you're in town, we can go to Atomic Horror and I'll get you one of these because this is awesome Atomic Horror merch. And their shirts are pretty awesome. They're not as comfy as yours, buddy. Your merch blows their merch out of the water, but their merch is pretty good. So I'll get you one of these, buddy. Oh, yeah. Vision says, good show, Fears. Well, thanks. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Anything for the fans. I love you guys. And last, but certainly not least, follow this wacky guy right here, Fears, the host with the most. Fears at FearsMan26, that's the main channel. And follow my second channel at Fears Vlogs. Oh, yeah. The coffee's gone. Thanks. I was literally putting ink on a shirt as you said that. Hey, no worries. I always got your back, my friend. And Robbie P2, you fucking fat idiot prick. How dare you say that Visions makes fake merch? Robbie, I'll buy a fucking Subway sandwich and I'll slap your fucking face with a Subway sandwich. Quit saying that Visions makes fake merch. Because Fears will kick your ass. I swear to God, Robbie. Fears doesn't play around. Visions never makes fake merch. Can you believe that, Visions? Unbelievable. No respect for Lord Visions. Robbie, shame on you. Shame on you. All right. I'm taking off. Fears loves you guys. Fears cares about you guys. And this is Fears Signing off. Peace. Deuces. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.